Alright, what's up guys, it's Chaos here, and welcome to an informative slash start of a series video. Basically, I'm going to be uploading a couple of videos about being an AR Slayer slash AR Anchor player. If you guys don't know, I am an AR Slayer slash AR Anchor kind of player, so I'm always the player at the back of the map. I'm usually playing for spawns, I'm usually playing for those long range kills, in which I'll be using an NV4, sometimes a K-bar, and in S&D I'll be using a sniper. These are particular situations that I wanted to go through with you, because obviously there's Hardpoint, uplink, and S&D, and there are certain places and certain areas that you could go to be an Anchor slash an AR Slayer. And I thought, why not do this video, because I did it on Black Ops 3, and obviously at this kind of time, there really isn't that much information on it, but I skimmed a fair amount being an AR player, so I know just roughly about where you kind of need to be, and where obviously you need to be pointing at and looking at. So we're going to be starting with Hardpoint, Breakout. In terms of classes, they're completely up to you. My main three classes are this class, or my main class is right there, in which I'm using a grenade and a trophy drone and stuff like that. You know, you really want to be playing very defensively. I'm a very traditional Anchor in that sense, that I am very strong in, you know, being very slow with my pushes, not taking any chances, not taking risks, etc. And it's what works for me best, because I'm able to outposition my player, or the enemy even, which is probably what one of my strengths is. So we're going to be starting off on this landing pads area. The hill is going to be right in mid-box. The first place you should really be focusing on is loading. The main reason why I focus on loading is because without it, you cannot gain control of the hill. Now, the first place you're going to be going is in this particular area on this side of the map from the landing pad. Your main focuses are going to be from there and from these two doors here. Expect people here. There will be players coming here because, like I said, loading is extremely important. It's sometimes nice to have a support player that comes and helps you on the loading area. It's all about picking up those first bloods. If you don't, then it's a real difficult situation for your objective player to really control the hill, and it just becomes a really bad time, basically. So once you actually gain control of loading, you want to be focusing on this top laundry and in this cut area. Those are the two main places that they're going to be coming through. Be cautious of your flank. That can sometimes cause a few issues. From the other side, it's a little more tricky. On the other side, as you can see, this entire mid area is open, so be careful of any support players or objective players rushing the hill, as those are going to be your first priorities. But again, you want to be focusing on the laundry area, laundry, loading, and you want to be focusing on the big door and these two small doors here. Again, once you've gained control of loading, specifically on this side, you want to stay in loading. Again, loading, you need it for the hill. I can't stress that enough. A lot of players try and control the hill without loading. It's not going to work. On both sides of the map, at 18 seconds, you're going to want to rotate. Ignore the hill. The amount of players that I see go through this middle area through the hill is a joke. The reason you want to do this is you want to get here as quickly as possible. The rotations and the spawns on this game are incredibly important. So the bit you're going to be mainly concerned with is this back area, focusing on this right side, in garage, and of course the middle area. Players will be coming from all over areas. The chances of a good slaying team, you won't have much action, and a lot of work will be done in the hill. But I really stress that you don't go to hill. Make sure you hold this area, and it will become a very easy job for both yourself and your team, because you'll be gaining the spawns. Just be cautious that people may flood garage, and it will mess the spawns up, in which you will then start spawning wall run. So it's important that you pick up the kills as quickly as possible. At 18 seconds, again, maybe 17, you're going to want to start to rotate. Now, this is a bit of a choice for the player. You can either go medical and try and challenge cave if you so wish, or do what I like to do, which is try and mess up the spawns. Now, if you've gotten the good spawns from the old hill, the chances are that you're not going to have the good spawns straight away, and the other team's probably going to rotate a little bit earlier if they're smart. So you want to be careful of someone watching their flank, either from here, watching that back area, or someone watching all the way back on this rock here, just focusing on the flank. So be careful of the player there, but your main focus on where you're going to be sitting is this rock area, because you want to control medical window, the door, and from cut. Those are the three main areas you want to focus on this particular hill. It's kind of tricky if they start to flood it. In terms of coming from the other way, from coming through cut, you're probably going to want to just go straight into medical bay and just try and gun off the person on cave, because if you can get up the person off the top cave, it becomes so easy. Once you've gotten the player off top cave, you can then begin to push. Be careful of someone sitting down here and aiming up like that. Some people like to do that on cave. Be careful of the war room. And once you, if you went for medical, you then again set up a cave and have someone either watching your flank, would be a support player or whatever. At 15 seconds, you're going to want to start to rotate from cave back onto landing pad here. And the first 10 seconds, you really want to be cautious of someone flanking you, so you want to be careful. You might want to just stand behind the truck and just sort of peek the area. You don't have to like sort of stare at it massively, but you can just sort of keep an eye on it. And for the remaining 50 seconds, you want to be focusing on these two little doors here, and depending on whether or not the enemy has the hill, wall run, and from tunnel. This is probably the easiest hill to hold, because a lot of the focus is going to be on the hill and less on you. Again, the spawns are very important, so if you're controlling this area, they cannot spawn in this area, and most likely your team will be spawning around about here. You will have a lot of resistance coming from this middle area here, so just be cautious of that some players might like to flood it, and yeah. So just remember, if you have a trophy drone on your class, be sure to use it. This will become your best friend, because of course nays are being heavily used in this game. Another thing you could use if you don't want to use it is use the striker loadout. If you want to go Centurion and use the trophy drone there, you can easily change that up. But yeah, again, once the hills are back to the middle, your focus is going to be on from mid, and specifically on this loading area. This particular map, depending on how good your slaying is not that difficult to win. It can be difficult if you're not good on your rotations, but if you struggle, if you don't struggle with rotating and picking up the important kills, this map is indeed a doddle, especially for an air anchor. Don't expect to be getting many kills. The only advice I could give is don't get aggressive. A lot of players, especially as an AR, get a little bit frustrated with their subs who aren't like picking up enough kills, and end up rushing the hill themselves. Especially this particular in cell block, you know, there's a lot of AR players that will try and push around the back. It's very important that you just hold the spawns and just try and, because if you're back here and the enemy have the hill, you could like watch there, but they're not going to get the good spawns. They'll still be spawning either around there or on wall run, depending on where your team is pushing from. So it's just important that you play your life, and I think that's probably the most important through any maps, is the air anchor really needs to try and play their life a lot stronger than in Black Ops 3. So yeah, I mean, that's really it for Breakout on Hardpoint. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to press the like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I will be doing the rest of the maps very, very soon. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. My name is Chaotic, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.